Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will dive into the shocking possibility that Drew Kane might face a life-threatening gunshot wound during the intense episodes airing from September 1st to 5th, and surprisingly, his own daughter, Scout Quartermain, could be the one behind it all. In the bustling world of Port Charles, tensions have been simmering around Drew Kane for quite some time, with whispers of danger lurking in every corner. Viewers have long sensed that a classic mystery plot was brewing for this ambitious congressman, especially after a flurry of heated confrontations and veiled threats from various residents in recent weeks. The latest promotional teaser from the ABC daytime drama has ramped up the excitement, revealing a dramatic scene where Drew appears to be targeted by gunfire sometime in the upcoming days. While the outcome of this ad, whether it leads to a tragic end or a narrow escape, remains shrouded in secrecy, the preview hints at a full-scale investigation kicking off immediately. Leading the charge are the sharp-minded police commissioner Anna Devane and the dedicated detective Dante Falconeri, who are shown poring over clues and interviewing potential perpetrators. Their task won't be easy, as Drew has managed to alienate a wide array of people in this tight-knit community, turning friends into foes through his political maneuvers and personal betrayals. Imagine the chaos as they compile a suspect list that seems endless, each name carrying its own grudge and motive, expanding on that roster of potential assailants. It's clear Drew's actions have created a web of resentment. Take Curtis Ashford, for instance, whose business dealings with Drew soured after a shady investment scheme left him financially strained and questioning loyalties in their shared circles. Then there's Portia Robinson, whose professional life as a doctor at General Hospital was upended when Drew's congressional influence interfered with hospital funding, putting patient care at risk and igniting her fury. Michael Corinthos, once a close ally, now sees Drew as a direct threat to the Corinthos family empire, especially after Drew's underhanded tactics in a corporate takeover bid that nearly bankrupted one of Michael's key ventures. Nina Reeves adds her own layer of bitterness, having been manipulated in a media scandal orchestrated by Drew to boost his public image, which backfired and damaged her reputation as a publisher. Carly Spencer, with her fiery temperament, hasn't forgiven Drew for meddling in her relationships and using insider information to sabotage her latest business endeavor at the Metro Court Hotel. And let's not overlook Sonny Corinthos, the formidable mob boss whose territorial disputes with Drew escalated into outright hostility after a territorial clash over Port Charles real estate developments. The list grows even longer when you factor in external threats like Jen Sidwell, the ruthless international operative who views Drew as a disposable pawn in his global schemes. Sidwell, known for his cold efficiency in eliminating obstacles, recently dismissed Drew's value during a tense encounter, hinting at his philosophy of tying up every loose end no matter the cost. This villain's history of covert operations, including smuggling rings and espionage, makes him a wild card who could strike from the shadows without warning. Yet, in the tradition of soap opera whodunits, the true perpetrator often hides in plain sight, defying all expectations and delivering a jaw-dropping twist. This brings us to an unlikely but intriguing suspect, Scout Quartermain, Drew's own young daughter. On the surface, Scout embodies purity and innocence, a bright-eyed child who radiates kindness, always eager to help others and follow the rules with a smile. She's the type to share her toys at school or comfort a friend in need, her gentle nature making her a beloved figure among the Quartermain extended family. However, beneath this facade lies a storm of unresolved pain, amplified by a series of heartbreaking events that have tested her resilience far beyond what any child should endure. Over the past year, Scout's world has been shattered repeatedly, starting with the devastating loss of her mother, Sam McCall, in a tragic incident on Halloween that left an indelible scar on her young heart. Sam's absence created a void that no one could fully fill, and Scout has grappled with grief in quiet, unspoken ways, perhaps drawing pictures of happier times or clinging to mementos, like her mother's favorite necklace. Compounding this sorrow, Drew's decisions have uprooted Scout's sense of stability time and again. He abruptly relocated her from the familiar comforts of the Quartermain mansion, separating her from her brothers, Danny Morgan and Rocco Falconeri, who were her daily companions in games and sibling adventures. This sudden move thrust her into an unfamiliar environment, where she had to navigate new dynamics overnight. Soon after, Drew introduced a blended family setup with Willow Tate and her children, Wiley and Amelia Corinthos. Although Scout shares distant family ties with Wiley, and Amelia, through convoluted Port Charles bloodline sand, had met them at occasional gatherings. The shift to cohabiting was overwhelming. Picture the challenges: adjusting to shared mealtimes with different dietary preferences, negotiating bedtime stories in a crowded nursery, or learning to share attention from adults who were still strangers in many ways. Scout might have tried to bond by organizing playdates or helping with Amelia's toys, but the emotional whiplash of forming these attachments only to lose them abruptly would be crushing for any child. The instability didn't end there. Willow's dramatic exit at the altar during her ill-fated wedding to Drew exposed Scout to yet another public spectacle of family disintegration. Envision the scene from Scout's perspective, dressed in a flower girl outfit, excitedly holding a basket of petals, only to witness chaos unfold as Willow stormed away, leaving behind shattered vows and confused guests. This event, broadcast across local news and whispered about in school hallways, stripped away more pieces of Scout's fragile support system, all traceable back to Drew's impulsive choices in love and life. Furthermore, restrictions imposed by Drew have isolated her from key figures like her grandmother Monica Quartermain, whose warm hugs and storytelling sessions were once a weekly ritual, and Alexis Davis, who offered legal advice but also maternal guidance through baking lessons and heartfelt talks. These losses piled up, creating a sense of abandonment that could fester into something darker. Recently, Scout's attempt to reconnect with her brother Danny highlighted the growing rift. In a moment of desperation, she might have sneaked a phone call or sent a secret note, longing for the sibling camaraderie they once shared, perhaps reminiscing about building forts or trading comic books. But Drew's overreaction, misinterpreting her innocent outreach as defiance, escalated the situation unnecessarily. Instead of offering empathy or facilitating a reunion, he enforced stricter boundaries, leaving Scout feeling utterly alone, with only her father as her constant but increasingly burdensome companion. This accumulation of betrayals and isolations might push even the sweetest child to a breaking point, prompting her to act out in unimaginable ways. Could the weight of it all lead Scout to grab a weapon, perhaps one carelessly left accessible in their home, and take drastic measures to reclaim control over her fractured life? As General Hospital continues to weave its tapestry of intrigue in Port Charles, these murder mysteries thrive on the element of surprise, often unveiling culprits that challenge our assumptions. The notion of Scout turning against Drew stretches the boundaries of plausibility, yet it fits the show's pattern of exploring deep psychological depths in its youngest characters. Next, we will explore the fiery remnants of Curtis Ashford's crumbling marriage to Portia Robinson, and how his boiling rage is now laser-focused on the cunning Drew Quartermain. In the ever-turbulent landscape of Port Charles, the embers from Curtis Ashford's shattered union with Portia Robinson continue to glow hot, fueling a fresh wave of hostility directed straight at Drew Quartermain. This simmering conflict has roots deep in betrayal and loss, transforming what was once a loving partnership into a battlefield of accusations and regrets. As viewers tune in, they're witnessing Curtis channel his deep-seated pain into a formidable grudge, one that could reshape alliances and ignite long-buried feuds across the town. Drew, with his polished exterior and hidden agendas, stands as the perfect scapegoat for Curtis's turmoil, embodying the external forces that have exacerbated the Ashford family's struggles. This shift in focus isn't just a personal vendetta, it's a potential catalyst for broader chaos, drawing in extended family members and old rivals alike. Recapping the dramatic events of this week, Curtis made a stormy exit from his home following Portia's unyielding ultimatum, a moment that effectively slammed the door on their shared future. In the aftermath, Portia sought solace in the welcoming embrace of Isaiah Gannon, a newcomer whose charm and stability offered her an escape from the marital wreckage. This rapid turn of events has left Curtis reeling, his heart heavy with the sting of abandonment, prompting him to redirect his fury toward Drew. The congressman's underhanded move to sabotage Stella Henry's professional standing by anonymously tipping off authorities about fabricated fraud charges has been the final straw for the Ashfords. Stella, a pillar of wisdom and support in Curtis's life, faced not only job loss, but also the humiliation of a public investigation, which strained family bonds and exposed vulnerabilities they thought were buried. Now, with his world upended, Curtis is rumored to unburden his soul to Jordan Ashford on September 4th, sharing the raw details of his marital collapse in a confidential conversation that could either mend old wounds or spark new ones. This impending heart-to-heart raises intriguing questions. Is Curtis's ominous warning to Drew merely the first shot in a calculated campaign of revenge? Or will it dissolve amid his overwhelming grief? Port Charles has seen its share of personal wars, but this one feels particularly volatile, potentially drawing in the town's power players and escalating into a full-blown conflict that disrupts businesses, relationships, and even the local economy. Curtis's pain might manifest as a strategic assault, using his nightclub savvy to uncover dirt on Drew, or it could fizzle into quiet heartbreak if he chooses introspection over action. The stakes are high, as any misstep could alienate allies and leave Curtis more isolated than ever. At the core of Curtis's menacing message to Drew lies a deep well of resentment, triggered by Drew's cold-blooded decision to expose Stella's alleged insurance scam, which stripped her of her livelihood and teetered her on the edge of legal ruin. This act wasn't just professional sabotage, it was a personal attack on the Ashford matriarch, who had mentored countless residents and provided emotional anchors during crises. With his marriage now in ruins, Portia's impulsive liaison with Isaiah serving as a brutal confirmation of irreparable damage, Curtis is funneling his emotional turmoil into this new target. Imagine the internal storm, nights spent pacing his empty apartment, replaying memories of happier times, only to be jolted by visions of Portia's betrayal. This redirection of anguish could empower Curtis, giving him a sense of purpose amid the chaos. Looking ahead, Curtis might take bold steps to unveil Drew's wider web of deceptions, such as his covert blackmail of Sonny Corinthos over illicit business dealings, or his subtle manipulation of Willow Tate in a bid for political leverage. These schemes, if brought to light, could unravel Drew's carefully constructed facade, exposing him as a master puppeteer pulling strings from the shadows. Curtis could dig into financial records from Drew's congressional campaigns, perhaps discovering embezzled funds funneled through shell companies, or leak audio recordings of Drew's coercive conversations with influential figures. Such revelations would not only tarnish Drew's reputation, but also invite scrutiny from federal investigators, potentially derailing his ambitions forever. Speculation is rife among fans that Curtis could assemble a coalition of supporters, including the shrewd Michael Corinthos, to orchestrate Drew's downfall through coordinated efforts like anonymous tips to the media or joint legal challenges. Michael's own history of corporate battles makes him a natural ally, and together they might target Drew's assets, from his stake in Aurora Media to hidden offshore accounts. However, this path is fraught with peril, as it invites a fierce backlash from a Quartermain known for his ruthless countermeasures, has a knack for turning the tables, using his connections to smear opponents or fabricate alibis that keep him one step ahead. Portia's swift entanglement with Isaiah, occurring just hours after Curtis's departure, signifies an irreversible fracture in their relationship, reminiscent of her earlier deceptions surrounding Trina Robinson's true parentage. That long-held secret, which once rocked the family to its core, now echoes in this new infidelity, highlighting patterns of hidden truths that have eroded trust over time. Isaiah, with his mysterious background as a wandering physician, provides Portia a fresh start, but it comes at the cost of alienating her from the Ashford clan, including Trina, who might feel caught in the crossfire of her parents' drama. On September 4th, as Curtis opens up to Jordan about his woes, there's a subtle undercurrent suggesting he might confess unresolved affections for her, indicating that forgiveness for Portia is off the table. Jordan, with her poised demeanor and history as Curtis's ex, could offer the empathy he craves, perhaps sharing stories from her own past heartbreaks to forge a deeper connection. This interaction hints at a man torn between moving forward and clinging to familiar comforts, all while his vendetta simmers in the background. This profound heartbreak is the driving force behind Curtis's escalating grudge against Drew, whose meddling has intertwined with the Ashfords' personal agonies in ways that feel deliberate and cruel. If Curtis uncovers the full extent of Portia's affair, perhaps through a leaked photo or overheard gossip, his fury could erupt uncontrollably, leading to impulsive decisions like planting false evidence or staging a heated public confrontation. At a high society event, the potential for Curtis's threat to erupt into a massive Port Charles confrontation grows. If figures like Trina or Stella rally behind him, pooling resources to dismantle Drew's falsehoods, possibly enlisting the tech-savvy Kai Taylor to hack into digital trails. Kai's expertise in cybersecurity could reveal encrypted emails or transaction logs, proving Drew's corruption, turning the tide in Curtis's favor. Yet, Drew's arsenal includes savvy legal defenses from his attorney Ezra Boyle, who might launch preemptive strikes, such as lawsuits accusing Curtis of defamation or investigations into his nightclub's finances. jeopardizing everything from his liquor license to his personal freedom. Should the spark between Curtis and Jordan reignite into something more, it could muddy his pursuit of justice, forcing him to navigate a tangled web of emotions where love and retribution collide. In the end, will Curtis's unleashed fury bring down the indomitable Drew, or will the double blows of Portia's disloyalty and Drew's superior cunning isolate him in a sea of defeat? Next, we will delve into the escalating drama surrounding Elizabeth Baldwin's frantic visit to Carly Spencer's office, unveiling Willow Tate's risky plot to reclaim her children amid a storm of family betrayals. In the heart of Port Charles, where secrets simmer and alliances shift like sand, the air is thick with mounting conflicts, as Elizabeth Baldwin bursts into Carly Spencer's bustling office bearing critical revelations about Willow Tate's bold and precarious strategy to win back custody of her beloved kids. This unexpected encounter, captured in Friday's gripping episode, sets the stage for a whirlwind of emotions and potential reconciliations, highlighting the deep fractures within the Corinthos and Quartermain clans. Elizabeth, with her nurse's intuition honed from years at General Hospital, arrives wide-eyed and determined, laying out the details of Willow's calculated move to rekindle a romance with Drew Quartermain. By feigning a passionate reunion and building a picture-perfect family facade, Willow aims to harness Drew's considerable clouthless political connections and financial resources to sway the courts in her favor for Wiley and Amelia Corinthos. As previews tease the unfolding chaos into next week, Carly's initial reaction is one of dismissive amusement, chuckling at the audacity of it all. Yet Elizabeth remains optimistic that Carly's influence could bridge the divide. She envisions Carly stepping in as a wise intermediary, perhaps whispering words of reason to her son Michael Corinthos to ease his ironclad stance. However, Michael's lingering suspicions run like a dark undercurrent, convinced that Willow played a shadowy role in the abduction of little Daisy Corinthos Gilmore, an event that shattered family trust and left scars that time hasn't healed. This web of doubt complicates any path forward, raising the stakes. Will Carly align with Elizabeth in a bid to pull Willow from the brink of self-destruct? Or has Willow's trail of deceptions eroded too many relationships to salvage? Diving deeper into Elizabeth's urgent plea, her impromptu meeting with Carly is born from a place of profound astonishment and concern, triggered by Willow's candid confession about diving back into Drew's orbit. Despite fully recognizing his penchant for manipulation and deceit, Willow, in a moment of raw vulnerability shared over coffee at the hospital cafeteria, admitted to Elizabeth that she's proceeding with eyes wide open, viewing Drew as a necessary Avila powerful ally whose sway could tip the scales in the custody battle. This revelation hits Elizabeth hard as she witnesses her friend's downward spiral, driven by the gut-wrenching agony of separation from her children, a pain amplified by sleepless nights and endless court documents. In appealing to Carly, Elizabeth positions her as a potential beacon of neutrality, someone whose no-nonsense demeanor and maternal instincts might persuade Michael to prioritize the children's emotional stability over his grudges. She might even suggest family therapy sessions or supervised visits as olive branches, betting on Carly's soft spot for her grandchildren to melt her reservations. Yet, the previews capture Carly's skeptical laughter, a reaction steeped in her own history of betrayals, particularly recalling how Willow's illicit affair with Drew detonated Michael's marriage, like a hidden mine. Despite this, Elizabeth clings to hope, drawing from Carly's past acts of unexpected kindness, such as when she quietly funded a community center in memory of lost loved ones, believing that same compassion could emerge here to foster healing. Shifting focus to Willow's audacious wager, her entire blueprint revolves around simulating a loving partnership with Drew, banking on his influential network to overturn the custody decision, even as she acknowledges his shadowy tactics ranging from covert blackmail operations against rivals to orchestrating corporate sabotages that have toppled businesses overnight. Willow insists that her awareness of these flaws acts as a shield, allowing her to navigate the dangers without getting burned. But her judgment is clouded by the raw desperation of a mother torn from her offspring, perhaps manifesting in frantic late-night planning sessions where she maps out every conversation and public appearance. This high-wire act carries immense perils if Drew detects even a hint of phoniness in her affections. He could turn vindictive, using his resources to further alienate her from the kids or smear her reputation in the media. Should Carly decide to collaborate with Elizabeth, the duo might devise a covert intervention, like staging a heartfelt family gathering at the Quartermain estate to confront Willow gently and implore Michael to relent for the sake of long-term harmony. However, Michael's unyielding anger, fueled by his belief in Willow's involvement in Daisy's terrifying kidnapping cult, with ransom notes and a dramatic rescue, renders him a formidable barrier. Viewing her as inherently unreliable and a threat to the family's safety, the plan's fragility is evident. One wrong move, such as a leaked text or an overheard argument, could cause it to crumble, stranding Willow in a deeper abyss of isolation without her children or any support system. At the crossroads stands Carly, grappling with a profound moral quandary. Extend a lifeline to Willow, the woman who bore her cherished grandchildren, or sever ties definitively due to the profound hurt inflicted on her son Michael. The teaser clips portray Carly's apparent nonchalance, brushing off the news with a wry smile. But Elizabeth's impassioned words might pierce through that facade, reminding Carly of her own tangled history with fractured families and second chances, like the time she forgave old enemies for the greater good during a holiday truce. If Carly chooses to intervene, she could orchestrate a delicate negotiation, perhaps hosting a private dinner at her home where Michael is encouraged to voice his fears, while Willow demonstrates genuine remorse, aiming to restore some semblance of peace and allow the kids a stable environment, with access to both parents. On the flip side, if Willow's repeated missteps from the affair that shattered Michael's trust to suspicions of her, orchestrating Daisy's disappearance for leverage prove too much, Carly might firmly align with her son, letting Willow face the consequences alone, which could mean years of limited visitation rights or supervised interactions. This decision has the power to reshape the intricate web of relationships in Port Charles, positioning Elizabeth as a reluctant go-between who risks her own friendships in the process. Ultimately, will Carly's involvement pave the way for redemption and reunion, or will it cement Willow's downfall in a cascade of irreversible choices? Keep watching for the latest developments in this riveting storyline that promises more heartache and surprises ahead.